What's going on, everyone? It's Aaron with Lansing Lawn Service. Today, I want to tell you why I switched to prepay billing. So some of you may know that I have been doing prepay billing for quite a while now. It's been about 3 or 4 years for my business that I have done prepay billing. And here is the story that got me into prepay billing. I had been working for 2 years on my business, doing work, billing after the work was done, like most everybody else, seeing all the other industries that bill after the work is done, say like auto work or plumbing or carpentry. Everything is all billed after the work is done except for maybe a deposit. But in lawn care, our prices are low enough and the rate is low enough that we don't need to charge a deposit. We could bill at the end of the work cycle or end of the month. Now, I was doing some cleanup work. When I first started, I did a lot of cleanup work. I took on jobs that were quite nasty, to be honest. And one in particular that sticks out in my mind, it was in downtown Lansing. I mean, heart of downtown Lansing, actually in kind of a rougher part of town. The houses were kind of more run down. But this client wanted their yard cleaned up. It hadn't been touched for about a year as far as just cleanup goes. Had all the leaves from the fall, and it hadn't been mowed since probably the August before. This was a spring cleanup, so I had a lot of sucker trees I had to cut down. I had a lot of leaves to clean up, and at that time I did leaf removal, not leaf mulching. And this yard, because they left the leaves so often, most of the time they didn't do any fall cleanup, nor did they do any spring cleanup with the leaves. They just left them on the ground, and as you all know, leaves left on the ground will kill the grass. So there was a large bare spot in the back, and I had a lot to clean up at this property, and it took me 2 days to clean this property up. It wasn't super huge, but it was enough work for me bagging all the leaves up and then cutting the grass, trimming everything down, getting it nice, making it look as best as I could. It was basically shining a turd as much as I could. It was exhausting work, and it took me a long time to get it looking the way it should. I edged the property up. I cut the grass. It looked 100 times better than it did when I showed up to do the work. And I was super excited. This was, for me, at that time, not knowing what I know now, I priced this job at $250. And I was excited for that $250. That is more money than I had ever made in 2 days in my entire life. So it was really exciting for me. And this was in a growth stage of my business where I was, learning the ropes, taking on these jobs, learning what to do and what not to do. So looking back on it, I would have charged $400 to $450 on this cleanup job. But hindsight is always 20/20. Knowing what I know now and what I learned from that cleanup, I learned a whole bunch. So I finish the job. I send the client the bill. I hear nothing. It's crickets. So I send an email because I got the guy's email address. Crickets. So I sent him a text message. Crickets. So I called him. The number you are trying to reach is no longer in service. So I go knock on the guy's door. No one's home. I am out 2 days and $250. I was pissed. And this was not the first time I had been ripped off, but this was the biggest job that I had been ripped off on. And I finally was so disgusted that I hadn't even heard of prepay until I actually decided to do it. I went on a search for companies that do prepay in their business, and I couldn't find any. Not on YouTube anyway. I didn't have any information on how to do it. I just decided I'm going to have all of my clients prepay no matter what, no exceptions. And I have since gone back on that on some clients, and it has bitten me in the butt. Stick to what you're doing, it will pay off. So, prepay, everyone is now prepay, and I am paid for all the work that I do. Now, you may hear on YouTube from other YouTubers in the lawn care, landscaping industry that you should have credit cards on file. And that is a awesome system if your clientele is willing to do that. 50% of my clientele is an older generation. They don't want their credit card information online. They don't understand that it's secure, and they don't care if it's secure. They want to write a check. They're the type of people that you get in line behind at Walmart and they have to write a check out for their groceries. There are people that still do that to this day. And those are the people that are slow. But those are also the people that always pay no matter what. Even sometimes it might be late, they are going to pay you. They're the honest kind of people. So for me, credit cards on file is not something that I am implementing right now. How I do prepay is I invoice a month in advance. They have 30 days to pay. As long as I get that payment before the work is to take place on their next service date, and let's say I sent out the April invoice at the beginning of March. Okay, they have 30 days to pay, and I have a little leniency in there because a lot of people, their service day is not right on April 1st. It might be, April 6th. As long as I get that payment before April 6th, your first service in April, we're all good. I don't have a problem. I'm not going to harass you for the money. None of that. So that's how I do prepay billing. I know a lot of guys do a month ahead, or most guys do credit card on file. And I've put my clientele through enough just switching over to prepay that I'm not going to do the credit card on file as of yet. Like I said, 50% of my clientele want a paper invoice. They want to send me a check. And I'm okay with that. I am perfectly fine with that. The others, I email the invoice, they pay online. Great. I don't have a problem with that. Money is money, no matter how it comes. So my advice to you is do what works well for you and your company, but also what works well for your clientele. Like I said, my clientele, half of them are old school. They want to send a check. The other half are willing to pay online. That's great. Another benefit is that when I'm signing on new clientele, when I go and give them their estimate, I tell them up front, look, we are a prepay company. I send you a bill a month in advance, and you have 30 days to pay that bill. As long as it's paid before your next service date, we're good to go. Most of the time, new clients, they are great with it. I've only had one person who has declined the estimate because of my prepay policy. And you know what? I am completely fine with that, because the people that don't want to prepay are usually the people that are looking to rip you off. That is what I have found in my experience, and I'm not going to allow people to run over me like that any longer. That's why I've done prepay. When you do work like lawn care, specifically lawn care, not so much landscaping. Landscaping has a higher price. Lawn care is lower price. You don't really have a whole lot of recourse to get your money back. Sure, you can put a lien on their property. Sure, you can do several different things. You could file a letter with intent to sue, but why not just cut all that out and go straight to prepay so that you're done. You don't have to worry about that anymore. If they don't pay, you don't do the work. It's simple as that. Please make that decision for yourself, whether to have cards on file, whether to bill a month in advance, whether to even do prepay. It's up to you and your clientele what you want to do, how you want to run your business. Don't let anyone tell you how you should run your business, but listen to everyone and all the different options so that you can make the best choice possible for you. Guys, if this video was helpful to you, please consider clicking on this playlist right up here, and I would love to give you more information over there.